Good morning, this is Beyond Wallet. I am Sumit Chaturvedi and let's take a look at the top headlines. Concerned over US visa laws, Indian IT companies might see a ray of hope coming from Japan. The Japanese government may soon come with a system to ease the permanent residency regulations. Electric car maker Tesla Motors is likely to introduce its products in India sometime in the summer of 2017, its CEO Elon Musk has said. And RBI cuts its FY17 growth forecast to 6.9%, pegs 7.4% growth for next year. And telecom wars get murkier in India. Bharti Airtel approaches the Prime Minister's office claiming that Reliance Jio's constant complaints about insufficient points of interconnect were its own fault. Well, let's start with our top international story. Indian IT companies might see a ray of hope coming from Japan. Well, the Japanese government is soon expected to come with a system to ease the permanent residency regulations. Japan is going to introduce a new system of green card to issue permanent residence to foreign working professionals. Under the new system, individuals having a valid visa residing and working in Japan can apply for a green card after 1-2 years as against 5 to 6 years earlier. Well, this move, along with other incentives, is expected to attract Indian IT companies to invest in Japan and could be a way out to the entry barriers being put in the US. Well, the biggest strategic investor in Indian startup ecosystem, SoftBank Group, has registered a loss of nearly $350 million from Snapdeal and Ola. These two startups are SoftBank's biggest investments in India. SoftBank has always maintained it will invest $10 billion in the country. Well, the figures come after SoftBank reported a loss of over $550 million for the 6-month period ending September 30. Now going to aviation sector in India, India's aviation industry risks a capacity crunch as an expansion in landing slots and terminals fail to keep pace with the number of jets entering the market and rapid growth in demand from travelers. Airlines including Interglobe Aviation's Indigo, SpiceJet and GoAir have 880 aircraft on order as they tap into a market growing 20% plus per annum thanks to rising incomes and low-cost fares. Well, domestic passenger numbers topped 100 million last year, with most of the growth involving flights into and out of the biggest cities. Most of India's 40 largest airports will exceed their design capacity within a decade, based on projected growth rates. Consultancy CAPA estimates, with Mumbai and Chennai fast approaching saturation, government plans to open 50 disused airports by 2020 and has given approval for 18 greenfield airports as well. Well, now moving to US, where US senators have proposed halving number of legal immigrants to US within a decade. Well, a bill introduced by Tom Cotton and David Perdue would alter US immigration system to reduce number of foreigners admitted without a skill-based visa. Well, Tom Cotton and David Perdue proposed the Reforming American Immigration for Strong Employment Act. Tom Cotton and David Perdue had proposed the Reforming American Immigration System because of the Employment Act where changes are taking place. Well, good news for electric car lovers, especially that of Tesla. Electric car maker Tesla Motors is likely to introduce its products in India sometime in the summer of 2017. Its chief executive officer, Elon Musk, has said. Well, Tesla Motors' much anticipated Model 3, which is positioned as a mass market affordable car, will be retailed at $35,000 in the US. Some Indians have also booked it already by paying an advance of $1,000. Well, there were reports that Vijay Shekhar Sharma, founder of mobile wallet company Paytm, venture capitalist Mahesh Murthy, Vishal Gondal, founder and CEO of wearable and fitness tech company GeoQ2, and Sujata Ali, CEO of online fashion platform Vonik, were among those who tweeted about booking the Model 3. Sales of electric vehicles in India rose 38% around to 22,000 units in the year ended 31st March 2016, according to industry lobby group Society of Manufacturers of Electric Vehicles. Now news from the macroeconomy. Reserve Bank of India, widely expected to cut the repo rate, has kept the lending rate unchanged at 6.25% yesterday, opting to wait for more clarity on inflation trends and how Prime Minister's crackdown on black money is impacting economic growth. Central Bank has been under pressure to lower borrowing costs to boost the economy, with the note span expected to drag economic growth to a 4-year low for the year ending March 31st, 2017. The RBI said that all 6 members of the Monetary Policy Committee voted in favor of the monetary policy decision. The Monetary Policy Committee has also changed its policy stance to neutral from accommodative, which signals that RBI could go for a prolonged pause on further cuts. The RBI also cited its concerns over inflation for its policy stance, excluding food and inflation. Fuel has been unyielding at 4.9% since September.
Cyber security had been a major area of focus.
Hello everyone. I just wanted...
And RBI Governor Urjit Patel has also cut the economic growth forecast to 6.9% for the current fiscal from 7.1% estimated earlier, even as he said that economy will bounce back to 7.4% rate next fiscal. The economic growth is expected to recover sharply in 2017-18 on account of several factors. In its last monetary policy on December 7, the central bank had cut growth forecast 7.1% from its earlier projection of 7.6% for this fiscal. The Apex Bank said that discretionary consumer demand held back demonetization is expected to bounce back in the closing months of 2016 and 17. Economic activity in cash-intensive sectors such as retail trade, hotels and restaurants, transportation, as well as in the unorganized sector is expected to be rapidly restored, while the RBI has said that. Now to the global aviation market. Singapore Airlines, Southeast Asia's biggest carrier, posted a 36% drop in third quarter profit as passengers numbers declined and the company wrote down the value of its budget unit brand Tiger Air. Well, the marquee carrier, which is battling over capacity and aggressive pricing by budget airlines locally and the Arabian Gulf's big three Etihad, Emirates and Qatar Airways, said 2017 will be another challenging year amid tepid global economic conditions and geopolitical concerns. Hong Kong-based rival Cathay Pacific Airways said last month it will eliminate some positions as part of business review, with key changes set to kick in by mid-year. To counter some of the challenges posed by Middle East and budget airlines, Singapore Airlines has been adding fuel-efficient aircraft to its fleet and teaming up with other carriers to offer more destinations. The carrier marked its inaugural flight of its Airbus A350-900 to Amsterdam in May last year. Singapore Airlines' net income in the 3 months to December fell to $177 million from $274 million a year ago, with the drop attributed to $79 million write-down due to rebranding of Tiger Air. Well, remember, Tiger Air is the budget carrier from Singapore Airlines. From Singapore to Europe now, global banks in London may have to relocate $1.9 trillion of assets to the continent of EU after Britain withdraws from the European Union, putting as many as 30,000 UK jobs at risk, according to Brussels-based research group Bruegel. Well, the assets potentially on the move represent 17% of the UK banking system, Bruegel said in a report published this week only. Well, based on discussions with market participants, the researchers estimate that 35% of wholesale banking activity in London can be attributed to dealings with customers inside the European Union. Financial firms will have to move that business to countries inside the trading bloc after UK leaves the EU in 2019. likely spelling the end of passporting, where firms seamlessly service the rest of single market from their London hubs. Banks and their clients are most concerned about a cliff-edge Brexit, whereby all access is cut off after 2 years. To safeguard against that loss of access, banks are already in discussions with European regulators about setting up new bases inside the EU and have said they will start the process of moving people within weeks of the government triggering Brexit talks, expected in March this year. Well, in some latest news from India, tennis star Sania Mirza has been summoned in an alleged tax evasion case. Well, the Principal Commissioner of Service Tax issued summons to the tennis player on Feb 6th. She is liable to pay a sum of about 20 lakh rupees as well. Mirza will appear before the authorities on Feb 16th. Well, moving to the most favorite space, which is e-commerce. E-commerce sites, the darling of shoppers nowadays, are topping the charts of consumer complaints as well. Well, the government has represented the latest data on e-commerce complaints received through National Consumer Helpline, according to which around 2,500 complaints were filed in the period April 14 to December 16 against direct selling and e-commerce companies. While Book My Offer, a website, topped the list with 449 complaints, followed by Snapdeal, eBay and Flipkart with 209, 175 and 157 complaints respectively. Government has also clarified that there is no proposal at present to bring in a separate legislation for e-commerce platforms. Neither there is any plan for setting up of National Consumer Safety Authority. However, the Consumer Protection Bill 2015, already introduced in Parliament, seeks to provide for the establishment of a Central Consumer Protection Authority. Other popular e-commerce players such as Amazon, Paytm, ShopClose and Jabong are among the top companies against complaints are received so far. Under the provisions of the Consumer Protection Act, a consumer can file a complaint in the appropriate consumer forum against these websites. Now, mobile payments and commerce platform Paytm will reach out to offline sellers with QR code for payments. Paytm has said it will reach 1 crore offline sellers with its QR code offering for payments. Currently, 35 lakh merchants, including organized retailers, hospitals and other stores, use the facility for their businesses. The number of offline merchants in November was close to 1 lakh, and the company had hired 10,000 field force to ramp up the number of offline users post-demonetization. Paytm is touting its QR code payment system as an alternative to point-of-sale machines, which are expensive and take longer timelines to deliver. QR code-based Paytm is linked to the verification documents and KYC collected for each business. Hence, an individual running multiple businesses can track the transaction for each business, avoiding duplicity. Shifting gears and moving to auto space, government is keen on implementing vehicle policy that aims at scrapping 15-year-old commercial vehicles in the first phase, and it will send the proposal to GST Council after Cabinet nod. Voluntary Vehicle Fleet Modernization Program policy has proposed to push 28 million decade-old vehicles off the roads. Government is trying to bring the policy as early as possible. Road Transport Ministry will make a presentation before the Cabinet Secretary on Feb 9 and then before the PMO. After the Cabinet nod, a presentation will be made before GST Council. The scrappage policy proposal is to provide relief of about 5 lakh rupees to people who purchase new commercial vehicle of about rupees 15 lakh if they surrender their over 15-year-old commercial vehicle. Well, the policy will result in rupees 10,000 crore boost in tax revenue, and the automobile sector turnover will grow from rupees 4.5 lakh crore to 20 lakh crore after policy implementation. Moving to telecom space, where telecom wars are getting murkier, that even as Reliance Jio got a clean chit from the TRAI, while the telecom regulator with regards to its controversial tariffs, the newcomer is still under fire from its rival operators, especially Airtel. Well, Bharti Airtel, seeking respite, has now approached Prime Minister's office, claiming that Reliance Jio's constant complaints about insufficient points of interconnect were baseless. Well, the operator also claimed that the calls are failing to go through because of glitches on Reliance Jio's network. Airtel explained it has released 35,000 points of interconnect to Jio in 5 months, while it had provided a little more than 40,000 points of Vodafone in over 2 years. The leading operator revealed that the capacity provided is ideal for serving over 190 million customers on the Jio network and is more than double to that of 72.5 million total customers currently claimed by Jio. It's time to go for a short break. After the break, we will go to markets, India and in global. Welcome to Beyond Wallet after the break. Now moving on to markets. Well, a day after getting disappointed by no rate cut by RBI, Indian markets have opened in a positive territory. Sensex has opened with a gain of 163 points, while Nifty has gained 45 points, while it is at the 8800 category as well at this moment. Today, to talk on markets, we are joined by our market analyst, Sumit Jain, head of Testimony Securities. Well, good morning, Mr. Jain. First of all, how do you see this market getting into positive territory today?
Good morning, Sumit. The thing is that, yesterday, since there was no rate cut, some of the market participants were expecting sort of a correction, but, which did not occur. I can cite, couple of negative news flows also, the market is going up, which clearly means that, we are in a bull market. We are also looking at some kind of a sector rotation that is happening, so, which is very healthy, and I see market going up from here also.
Mr. Sumit, here we take a particular stock, Infosys, where there's a news that there are differences in founders as well as the board of Infosys. Now, what do you see there? Because there are a lot of problems are happening and shareholders have complained to Infosys management regarding the pay of CEO Vishal Sikka. So how do you see this impacting Infosys stock in particular?
I think for past 6 months, Infosys has been slumping. It is been going down, and any news that comes out for the stock is negative news. So I feel that this also won't help much. Actually, even you can see that the street is spooked by the Tata chairman, Tata Sons, and the Tata chairman fiasco. So I think this will impact the stock in a negative way, and we can see further correction in the stock.
Talking about an auto pack, they were expecting rate cut to come to them yesterday. It didn't happen. Now, what is expectations for the auto pack? Will they go up? Will they move up? Any expectations over there?
Autos, in fact, are not. I would like to comment on the auto sector, not regarding the rate cut. What I would in fact like to, I would like to point out two things. That post demonetization, all the analyst estimates had been downgraded for the auto sales. But now when we are looking at the numbers, the Q3 numbers which are coming around, there was not a huge impact. So I don't feel that auto sector needs a rate cut or anything of such sort. The numbers are good, and auto sales are continuing to be the way they are currently.
And going back further to our markets, Indian markets, where they have opened in positive territory today, what is the outlook for the next few days, and what should people or the investors look out for the next week?
See, I feel that this bull market is to be continued. Next couple of days we can see a 100-point rally on the Nifty from here. Banks are seeing some sort of consolidation in the trend, but I don't think there's anything is there to be worried about as of now in the markets. We are in an uptrend and we will remain so. And I can even stick my neck out and say that we could go to the Nifty could go to 10,250 by the year end.
Well, talking about the corporate results, yesterday Hero Motors results came where the net profit dipped 2.6%. How do you see these corporate results so far? What do they indicate about the economy?
So the results so far, I don't think there has been the results have been a mixed bag. In fact, there is a beat on the estimates also, earnings estimates also. So I don't think it will be much of a demeanor for the markets.
Now moving to global markets, which were under pressure last week, and how do you see the global markets? And also, please touch upon the commodities, including crude.
Global markets, I think Nasdaq will continue to start making will continue making new highs. On the Russell 2000, I'm looking at a certain amount of consolidation that is going on. In fact, even Dow is flirting with a 12,000 mark. So on international markets, I don't think we would get to see much action because one thing is to be noted that the volatility index is around 12.5 levels. It's trading near its lows. So the market is not expecting something huge that could happen.
And what could be the biggest cue for the market going forward? Because a lot of things were expected, like a rate cut from RBI, some announcements in budget, or the negative announcements in budget, like more tax on share and purchase of shares. That did not come. So what are the cues market should look out for?
The next biggest cue I think the market would be looking out for is the news coming out around GST bill. You see, this government is hell-bent upon passing the GST and implementing it since September. So I think that will be the biggest game changer for Indian markets.
Any specific stock recommendations you would like to give our viewers currently? What should they trade in? What should be their trading strategy?
I would not like to comment on a specific stock, but yes, sector-wise, I can say that one can go ahead and bet their money on the banking sector as of now. The large-cap PSU banks are good to bet up. One can put their money in large-cap PSU banks. They could see a turnaround. There is some news of capital infusion also going on, which our finance minister had said in the budget. So I think large cap PSU banks is the space where investors should look at very closely.
And also, IT stocks were under pressure because of some news coming on H-1B visa that the minimum salary requirement was doubled and all of that, because of which IT sector was under pressure. You think now the pressure is over and it should be doing good going forward?
No, I don't think so. IT would continue to remain under pressure going ahead for at least a couple of months. There should be some concrete news coming out from the US markets or regarding this H-1B visas and everything. Then only we can see and how the stocks react, and then only we will be buying around in that sector.
Mr. Jain, certain new IPOs are also coming. BSE IPO, we saw there was a very good response to that. So new IPOs, what should investors do? They should wait for the new IPOs and should invest in them?
Yeah, I would like to say that, one should always look at the quality of the IPO, the management, and then only invest in the IPOs. Not every IPO would give you listing gains, but some of them, yes, are very good, and one can go ahead and apply for the IPO, apply in the IPO.
Well, thanks so much, Mr. Jain, for talking to us today.
Yeah, thank you, Sumit.
Well, that's all from Beyond Wallet today. Well, stay tuned to Beyond for more news and updates.